Knicks basketball's back, everybody. They beat the Sixers 99-84 in Abu Dhabi, first preseason game of the year. A lot to talk about. We were wondering what the Mike Brown offense was going to look like, what adjustments he was going to make defensively. We got some answers. OG Anunoby did not play, sprained wrist. Dottier gets the start, so we weren't seeing the typical starting five that we thought we would see. I think he wanted to get Josh Hart off the bench to get him some chemistry with the bench unit. Mitch starts. Let's move forward. First impressions are way more ball movement, right? This is exactly what we expected to see from a Mike Brown-led offense. A lot of movement, not just from Dottier and Mitch. Cat and Jalen Brunson were cutting. They were moving spots, which I love because now, as a defense, you have to keep track of the two most lethal weapons of the New York Knicks, going from different locations to different locations. I mean, we saw Cat cut and then go to the corner. We saw Jalen Brunson backdoor cut from a screen of Mitchell Robinson, his gravity pulling people in for open shots. And even though it was a night where, honestly, both teams couldn't hit anything, you saw the process there. You saw the vision. And that's what I was looking forward to going into this game. It wasn't so much about the results and if the Knicks won or not, or if they were hitting open shots. It was more about, okay, how do they look running their offense? They were perfectly fine with other people bringing up the ball and initiating the offense. A lot of dribble handoffs, which is something that I do like. You see the Pacers do it a lot. You see the Thunder do it a lot, so maybe mimicking that. I know Mike Brown did it a lot in Sacramento as well. Using Mitchell Robinson as a screener up top. Just a lot of different ways to move the basketball. Everybody's moving. They don't hold on to the ball too long. It's the exact opposite of what we saw last year under Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks. It's not just kind of dribbling around, maybe get a pick and roll and see what happens. It's, we're going backdoor, we're relocating, we're dribble handoffs. If we don't have anything, we're passing quickly, and they are trying to run the ball. And Mike Brown did say afterwards that they still have to pick up the pace. Like, they are not running fast enough. They're not moving the ball fast enough. They want to get out and run more, 2, 3, 4 times as much as they did. So that's something that I think is great. That's something that I'm looking forward to because that's the type of basketball that I think the Knicks played best even under Tom Thibodeau. Last year I was complaining a lot, like, why aren't we running? Every time we get out and run, every time we try to run the fast break and pick up the pace, we look like a better team. And it's good to see Mike Brown emphasizing that. Obviously, picking up the pace 2 or 3 times more than they've been doing, that's illogical, but it's also, I think it's him emphasizing, listen, this is what we have to do. And it's going to be interesting seeing the Knicks implement that into, their everyday offense. The Knicks are going to be a very fun team to watch this year. I can't wait. Mitch looked great defensively. They weren't trapping, but they were meeting the ball handler at the level of the screen. They're not dropping, which I appreciate. I hate a drop coverage, especially with Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't feel like he does that well. But Mitch, with his long arms, got a couple steals, a couple deflections. I thought Karl-Anthony Towns played pretty well in the pick and roll. Their help defense was really good. I was really impressed with Dottier and his ability to help weak side off the pick and roll and guard the ball. He didn't shoot the ball too well, but he did guard the ball pretty well. He played good defense. I thought Jalen was fine. Wasn't really paying attention to Jalen and Cat, though, if I'm being honest with you. Those are the players who I'm very comfortable with. I'm looking more for the ancillary pieces and how they're going to fit in. But I was really happy with what I saw overall. They won the game, which is good. I mean, the Sixers shot 3 of 35 from 3, so you're going to win games like that in the NBA. People are rusty. But it just looks like a completely different team and one that's going to be fun to root for. So let me know what you think in the comments. What was the thing that stood out to you the most? I'm going to get to mine in a second. I still haven't touched on everything. I don't want to throw everything at you at once. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with what I saw from the Knicks last night. Now, Josh Hart left the game because he was ejected. It seemed like he tweaked his back. He threw the ball into the stands, and the refs tossed him. There's a little bit of a panic there from us Knicks fans because Josh is an integral part of the team. Whether he starts or not, he's going to be a huge part of whether or not the Knicks win the championship this year. And tweaking your back is no joke. Somebody who has tweaked their back in the past, that is something that will linger. That is something that will haunt you for a long time if you don't take care of it properly. But according to the Knicks, they said that the reason why he didn't get back in the game wasn't because he was injured. It was because he was ejected from throwing the ball into the stands. So that's good news, I guess. Nonetheless, I don't expect him to play next game. if he really did tweak it, if he really was limping because of a strained back, I think that's something you need rest from. I think he should sit out for the next week or two. Honestly, maybe even the preseason. That is not something you play with, like I said. We don't need to lose Josh Hart for an extended period of time because we wanted to bring him back a little early for preseason games. Maybe he could have went back in. If this was the playoffs, he would have played. I get that, but rest up, Josh. Get better. We don't need you straining your back or pulling a disc game 2 into that regular season just because you wanted to play early. So hopefully they keep him out. That's what I'm hoping for. But it is good to hear that he would have came back in. It is good to hear that he wasn't so injured that they're worried about anything, and that the only reason why he was out of the game was because he got ejected. Which Josh Hart doing Josh Hart things. I want to get to what I liked the most about yesterday's game, and that was the bench mob. Man, this bench is going to be really freaking good. I mean, there were a couple plays where Clyde was having an aneurysm with the ball movement. I mean, he was loving it. I was loving it. Garrison Matthews hit all 3 of his threes. He's a sharpshooter. It makes me want to trade another young piece to get him on the roster. Malcolm Brogdon was pushing the pace. He hit his first 3. Pocket passing in the pick and roll. Huck Porty hitting hook shots. And Deuce McBride, man. Now a 3-level score? Are you kidding me? I mean, hitting a step back 3, hitting a 3 in transition, a one-legged midi, a step back midi in the lane, a drive with the left hand finishing at the rim. Literally 3 levels of scoring from Deuce McBride in a preseason game. Looks like a completely different player. So much better than last year. And I know it's one game, and I know it's preseason. I know you're going to work on things that you typically were working on all summer. But to see that he has that in his bag, if that can be consistent, my goodness. It's going to be, this team is going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, I'm happy what I saw with the ball movement. I'm happy what I saw with, beating the screener, the ball handler at the level of the screen. But what I was most happy about was how the ball moved with the bench, how Deuce looked, how Brogdon looked, how Yabusele looked. Everybody was just on the bench was just really impressive to me. And we went from having in my opinion, one of the worst benches in the league to now, or one of the worst benches of the contenders at least, to now having one of the better benches. I am so excited for this. I think Leon Rose did a great job in the offseason, getting Clarkson, getting Yabusele, now getting Shamet, now getting Garrison Matthews on a non-guaranteed contract. Brogdon, this could be a really fun bench to watch, especially with the style of play that Mike Brown wants to play with. And, there has been some talk about Deuce McBride possibly being, expendable, or, we can get rid of him because there's too many people. He made his case for why he should stay, like today. Now, obviously, it's one preseason game. That can change because it doesn't matter. And in a couple of weeks, we're not going to remember these preseason games. But it's nice to see Deuce McBride expand his game and become, hopefully, a 3-level scorer. All right, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you like the video. The season has officially kind of started. It's the preseason, so it started, but not really started. I want to hear what your impressions were from Game 1 of the preseason in Abu Dhabi. The Knicks beat the 76ers 99-84. What impressed you the most? What are you still worried about? And what are you looking forward to in Game 2? We'll be back for another episode of Knicks Latest on Monday. Until then, I'll catch you around. Peace.